celebration, every little step.
I'm Ashley Rodio. I'm here with Vista Theater Director Goldson. How
Hello.
are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you for asking. Thanks for hanging out.
Of course, thank you for hanging out with me. So, we have a spring musical coming up this year, and it's looking a little bit different from the other years in the past. Is that correct?
Way different. We're not allowed by the state and by the CDC to have kids singing unmasked and dancing near each other. So that would eliminate, in our eyes, the notion of doing a traditional musical. And I know that there are schools that are doing that and live streaming it and recording it, but we decided in the fall that that wasn't really the direction that we wanted to go.
So what drove you to write a musical instead of a pre-written one?
So, yeah, I decided to write a musical. And there were a lot of different things happening. And one of them for me was that I really wanted to direct and work on a show because the show I was supposed to do last spring didn't happen because of the virus. And then I didn't work on the musical last year. So I was beginning to feel all agitated because I hadn't worked on a show in 2 years because I didn't do a show in the fall. So I was talking to a buddy of mine who does nothing but original plays at his school. And he said, you just need to write a show. And so we brainstormed it, whatever. And the nice thing about writing it is that, you know, every other musical is written with the understanding of the audience in the room and the medium and the interaction between the audience and the actors. And what makes musical theater so fun is that the audience gets to see these people be so full of emotion that they want to sing and dance. And there's no other art form like it. And when you watch filmed musicals, until Hamilton, they were a little bit distanced. And then Hamilton came along and was like, well, let's just shoot it with a bazillion cameras and have the camera right here. And it established a whole new paradigm. And I was like, well, we're not doing that. We can't. We don't have the ability. So I was like, okay, let's write a play that lives in the world of the pandemic. And by being able to write the play myself and ourselves in the collaborative way, is we were able to write people who were talking on Zoom and write scenes where people are in masks, and it fits right in today. And nobody else had written that play because, I mean, I don't think there's a play written during the 1918 flu pandemic, or, you know, there are lots of plays about the AIDS virus, but it's a different world. So that gave us sort of the freedom to tell a story that worked in our times with the limitations that we had. So the play that we wrote has sort of three different components. Like I said, there'll be some songs recorded on stage of our students singing and acting in the talent show that we invented. But half the play is just Zoom calls and FaceTime, because that's a lot of the way that we all interact, and the people can tell the story through those interactions.
Of course.
Does that make sense?
Totally. So obviously you decided one of the advantages of this was to kind of have that creative freedom of using Zoom. What would you say some of the other advantages or disadvantages are?
Ooh, that's a great question. The disadvantage, let's see, the advantages are we are able to build characters with our kids. So, you know, we had our students audition and cast them. But so, for example, one of the kids that we cast is a kid named Kobe Dixon. And Kobe's playing our head techie, Nick. Well, on paper, Nick is this bossy, arrogant, just telling people where to go, looks down on actors. The play must be perfect. That's not Kobe Dixon at all. He is a sweet, gentle, gangly, sort of awkward kid. So, but that's who we cast. He was the best one for the role. So the advantage is that I'm the writer and Kobe's the writer, and we can go back and just tweak the way the character goes. And then the other big advantage has been that I'm not a professional playwright by any stretch of the imagination. So there are these things that sounded great on paper, and then we get them on stage and we're like, oh boy, that's not going to work. And the advantage has been that with our actors who've been extraordinary, Ashley, at knowing who their characters are and being willing to be critical of me and critical of the play, that we rewrite scenes and we reorganize them and we rework them. So what we end up with was this huge advantage that none of us had ever created a play from scratch before. And this is the way that it happens in Broadway. Like, if you write a brand new play and you get commissioned to do it, you go to Broadway and the playwright sits next to the director and they sort of write as they go, and you get new scripts every night. And sometimes that's really frustrating, and that's why they do previews and so forth and so on. And we're just doing that as a basic part of our process. And that's been really fun and a huge advantage. Some of the disadvantages are that, you know, we're trying to pick songs. In a normal musical, the songs tell the story. And in this one, the songs are just showpieces. So trying to pick a mix of songs that allow us to show off our students' best talent has been challenging. Thanks, Ashley.
Of course. Thank you for talking with me.
You bet. Anytime.
All right. Make sure to catch the show in mid-March, you said?
Yep.
All right. Sounds like it's going to be a good one. Thank you.